Every school seems to have one of those places, doesn't it? A corner of the library no one sits in, a bathroom stall everyone affords, or maybe, just maybe, a single locker that stands out from all the rest. At Lincoln High School, that place was locker 119. It wasn't just any old locker, there was something off about it. It was always cold to the touch, even on the hottest days of the year. The door was always slightly ajar, never fully closed, never fully open, just hanging there with a dark, inviting sliver of space. And most importantly, it was always afforded. The student room meal had a story, of course. They said it used to belong to a girl who vanished without a trace years and years ago. One day she was in class, the next she was just gone. The teachers, whenever asked, would just climb up. Their faces would go pale, and they'd change the subject so fast it would give you whiplash. But the old school janitor, Mr. Henderson, he had a silent rule he enforced with a steely gaze. He never said it out loud, but everyone understood. Don't touch 119. Don't even look at it for too long. But you know how it is. Rules are just invitations, aren't they? Especially for the curious. And that's where Harris comes in. One Tuesday afternoon, Harris stayed late after school. He had a big science project due, a model of the solar system he'd been putting off, and he needed the quiet of the empty room to get it done. As the sun began to set, casting long, eerie shadows down the corridors, the school took on a different personality. The usual chaos of shuffling feet and shouting students was replaced by a heavy, profound silence. It was the kind of quiet that feels like it's listening to you. Finally finishing his project, Harry started his walk toward the main exit. His footsteps echoed off the polished floors, the only sound in the entire building. He turned the corner into the main hallway, past the long, uniform rows of metal lockers. And that's when he saw it. Something was wrong. Locker 119's door was completely shut. Nah, this might not sound like a big deal to you, but for anyone at Lincoln Heights, this was like seeing the sky turn green. It had never, ever been fully closed. A shiver, and not just from the evening chill, traced its way down Harris's spine. The janitor's unspoken rule echoed in his mind. But curiosity is a powerful, dangerous thing. He found himself walking closer, his feet moving almost against his will. The air around the locker was noticeably colder, a pocket of winter in the middle of the hallway. He reached out, his hand hesitating for just a moment before his fingers made contact with the cold, painted metal. Tap, tap, a light, almost playful sound. He didn't know why he did it. Maybe to prove to himself that it was just a locker. He expected the sound to be swallowed by the silence. He expected nothing. Instead, something tapped back. From inside the locker, three soft, distinct knocks. Tap, tap, tap. Harris froze, his heart instantly hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. Every rational thought in his brain screamed at him to run, to get out of there, but he was rooted to the spot. Was it his imagination? An echo? He had to be sure. He leaned in, pressing his ear against the icy metal door. The cold seeped into his skin, making his teeth tighter, and then he heard it. A faint scratching sound. Square up. Drag. It was the sound of fingernails, long and sharp, being dragged slowly, deliberately, down the inner wall of the locker. The sound was so close, so intimate. It was as if it were happening inside his own head. Then, a whisper. It was thin and ready, a dry rustle of a voice that lead through the small vents on the locker door. Let me out, I'm still here. A wave of pure terror washed over Harris. This was real. This was happening. He stumbled backward, his sneakers squeaking on the linoleum. He had to get out. Nah, but as he backed away, the locker door began to shake. Not just a rattle, with a violent, frantic shudder, as if someone or something was trapped inside and kicking the door with desperate, furious force. The metal buckled and groaned under the assault. The hallway lights above him began to flicker erratically, plunging him into throbbing moments of darkness. On the bulletin boards lining the walls, papers and thumbtacks slid to the floor, and then a new sound began. One by one, the other logos in the hallway started to rattle. First the ones next to 119, then the ones further down, a terrifying chain reaction of shaking metal, a deafening chorus of chaos that filled the entire corridor. It was like the whole school was having a seizure. Harris finally broke out of his paralysis. He turned to run, his mind screaming, his lungs burning, but before he could even take the steps, everything stopped. The rattling, the flickering, the shaking, it all ceased in an instant. The hallway was plunged back into that heavy, listening silence. And in that silence, a single, chilling sound, a slow, agonizing creak. Level 119 was opening all on its own. The door swung inward, revealing a dark, narrow gut. It wasn't the normal interior of a locker. There were no shelves, no hooks, no forgotten textbooks. There was only darkness. A profound, unnatural black that seemed to stretch on forever, deeper than any locker should be. It was like looking into the mouth of a tunnel, or a deep, dark well. And then, from that impossible darkness, a pale hand slowly reached down. It wasn't a full hand, just the fingers at first. Long, thin, and disturbingly white. They trembled as they wrapped around the metal doorframe. The knuckles were blue, the nails chipped and dirty. It was gripping the edge as if it was trying to pull itself up from a great depth, from somewhere far below. The whisper came again, but it wasn't from inside the locker anymore. It was right beside his ear, a cold breath on his neck. Don't leave me again. That was it. That was the final push. Harris didn't scream. He didn't even have time to. He just ran. He bolted down the hallway, his feet pounding a frantic rhythm, not daring to look back. He burst through the school's heavy front doors and didn't stop running until he was blocks away, gasping for breath in the cold, safe evening air. The next morning, when the teachers and students arrived, everything was normal. The papers were back on the bulletin boards. The logos were all silent and still, and logo 119. Its door was slightly open again, just a sliver, as if nothing had ever happened. But something had happened. Harris never walked down that hallway again. He'd take the long way around, through the crowded cafeteria, or even outside, no matter the weather. And to this day, sometimes, when new students who don't know the story walk past logo 119, they stop. They'll tilt their heads, a confused look on their faces, and swear they just heard something. A soft knocking from inside, 3 little taps, just waiting for someone curious enough to answer. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next descent into the darkness. See you next time.